it's Alice, and today we're gonna wrap up 2022, look at some stats, and make some plans for the new year. So, 2022, it was not my year. I feel like I say this, I've said this for the past couple of years, like, the past year was not it, but it's true for this year as well, for whatever reason. There have been so many ups and downs this year, and it's just been a lot, both in life, but also with my reading, which is the focus for today's video. And I think we should just take a look at it. I didn't make any like super strict goals for myself in 2022. At the beginning of the year, I did already feel quite slumpy, and it ended up being a surprisingly slumpy year, so that worked out good for me. But I didn't make any numbers goals or anything like that. The only thing that I sort of thought that I wanted to do was focus on translated books and classics, which, Now, I keep track of my reading in two ways. I keep track on Goodreads, which you all can see, but then I also have my own spreadsheet, reading spreadsheet, because I am a spreadsheet kind of gal, and I thought we could just take a look at that and see what it says. Every time in between I need to do like a screen recording, I forget how to do it. Every time. Alright, so here is my spreadsheet. I have seen so many like aesthetically pleasing spreadsheets, and I've tried to make mine look good, but I still feel like it's not quite there, but whatever. This is what it looks like, and I fill in title, author, number of pages, gender, which I like put into female, male, or other if I have like any non-binary authors or whatever. We have my rating, the month I read it in, whether it's non-fiction or fiction or poetry, which is its own separate thing. We have what language I read it in, if it's a reread, translated, if it's a classic, if it's in a series, if it's by a BAME/BIPOC author. And then I've added a new one this year, which is whether or not it's an audiobook, because I actually listened to some audiobooks this year. I also keep track of the number of books that I've read. So if we scroll down here, you can see that I read 42 books this year. And the whole point of like keeping track of this is that at the side here, it calculates like percentages and stuff of everything that I fill in. This is the part that's probably actually interesting. Like you can see how much fiction, nonfiction, and poetry I've read. So I have 71% fiction and 26% nonfiction and 2% poetry. I've read less nonfiction this year than I've done in a lot of previous years. Sometimes this number is like 35, but this year it's 26. Then I read 6 books in Norwegian and 36 in English. 14% Norwegian is actually pretty good for me. I'm very happy with the fact that I've gotten into reading books in Norwegian, so, you know, I'm very happy with that number. 2 of the books that I read were rereads and 40 were not. I read 3 translated books and 39 that were not. You know, 7% is not great for someone who kind of wanted to focus on translated books, but there you go. Then we have classics, which I also wanted to focus on, and 10% of the books that I read were classics, which I feel like is not half bad. But I did also start a classics project that I don't know if I paused it or if I gave up, but I did like 3 videos on that, and then I was gonna read this one book that I started and I couldn't get into it, so I just put it down thinking I was gonna pick it back up. It was actually East of Eden, and then I just had a little bit of a slump both in reading and in life, and so I kind of just gave up a little bit. It's not really that important, so I guess it doesn't really matter. 8 of the books that I read were in a series, which makes up 19%, which is actually a lot. 6 of the books that I read were by BAME/BIPOC authors. This is one of those things that's like kind of weird to track in a way, because it can be a little bit like weird to put people into those kinds of categories, but I just do it to make sure that I don't only read white authors. That's basically it. So I keep track of it just to like diversify my reading a little bit. I think that's important. Then we have the new thing that I started tracking this year, which was audiobooks, and I listened to 2 audiobooks, which I realize is not a lot, but for me that's pretty good. Like, I just struggle with audiobooks, but I found 2 that I really like this year, and I'm very happy with it. I'm gonna keep track of it next year as well, in the hopes that I will listen to a couple of more. I just struggle so much with finding ones that I actually like. So, you know, I'm gonna try and we're gonna see how it goes. Then over here we have books and pages per month. So these are how many books I read in each month. You can see that I didn't read a lot. Like, usually this would say like 10, 12, 14. Like, I used to read so much more, and this year I just didn't. And then here are the numbers of pages, which I guess I should like calculate how many I read in total. This is one of the reasons that I love Excel, because I mean, I use Excel quite a lot at work and it's surprisingly complicated, but I love that you can just calculate anything. I'm not a huge math person, but like this kind of stuff, I love. So in total, I read 14,752 pages, which, I mean, it's pretty good. I feel usually I'm around 30,000. So, you know, it's less than in previous years, but whatever. Then we have like the percentages of authors. So we have 64% female, 36% male. I didn't read anything by any non-binary authors this year. Sometimes I also read books by several authors and it's like mixed genders, and I like put those in here as well. But this is pretty average to what I usually read. I actually read more male authors this year percentage-wise than I have done in previous years. Sometimes I almost only read female authors, but it's good that it's a little bit of a mix. Then we have my ratings. This is one of my favorite statistics. So we have 1 book that I gave 1 star, 2 books that I gave 2 stars, so like the lower ends of the ratings we did pretty well with. Then I gave 16 books 3 stars, and 3 stars for me is a pretty good rating, actually. 20 of the books that I read were 4-star books, and this makes up the biggest chunk. So I gave almost half of the books that I read 4 stars, which is excellent. So if you look at my reading year in that way, it was a great reading year. Then I gave 3 books 5 stars, which is 7%. I'm pretty like careful with my 5-star ratings. It's fairly rare that I give anything 5 stars, and I think even in my best years I give maybe like 5 books 5 stars. So 3 books that I've given 5 stars when I've only read 42 books is pretty good. I do wholeheartedly recommend for all my organized girlies out there to make a reading spreadsheet, because it is so satisfying. Now that 2023 has rolled around though, it's time to make some plans for the year. Or not. Now, like I mentioned, in 2022, I didn't really make any goals. I have had the goal of reading 100 books a year for several years, and I did it for like 5 years in a row. And then in 2021, I didn't reach that goal, and I could feel that my reading was really slowing down, and so I didn't make a goal in 2022, which was a good idea because I read only 42 books, which I realize is not actually that bad, but it is a little bit hard not to compare like to previous years. And I would like to read more because I just love reading, and I have so many books that I want to read. I would like 2023 to just be slightly better. So I am gonna make a goal, kind of. 100 is too much, I think. I honestly think it's unrealistic, and it's just like, if I get there, that's great, but like, I don't know if that's really gonna happen, and I don't want to set an unrealistic goal. So I'm gonna try to set my Goodreads goal to 52. And the thing is, I say that it's gonna be a goal, but like, because on Goodreads, I don't know if it does this anymore, because for the previous years, I've just put my goal to 1, so it doesn't really like keep track of how far you are behind and everything. But I'm gonna put it to 52 and see. And if it stresses me out, if it still says like you're 4 books behind schedule or whatever, I might just remove it, and I might lower my expectations. So I'm giving myself sort of the permission to change the goal throughout the year depending on how we're doing. I might up it, but probably not. But I feel like getting to a place where I read one book a week would be a great place to be. I do realize that I'm kind of like giving myself permission to give up, which sort of defeats the purpose of setting a goal. But, you know, I can't be too strict with myself with this because I'll just end up not reading anything. But I think 52, I think I can do it. I don't know if I'm just in a good mood today, but I feel like I can do it. Other than that, I'm not really gonna put any like restrictions or goals or anything for myself. I have been using this kind of spreadsheet for years, and as you saw in that spreadsheet, I keep track of certain things that are important to me in my reading, and I always like look at it every time I'm in the spreadsheet, and it reminds me to read certain types of books. Sometimes I ignore that because I'm in a bad reading mood and I just need to read like whatever, but when I'm in a good reading mood, I will be like, oh, I haven't read a translated book all month. Maybe I will pick up one of those now. And that really helps me get to the books that I want to get to, because I do want to read more diverse books. I do want to read more classics and more translated books, and also audiobooks. And that, just having it there is enough for me, and I don't need to put like a number goal on anything, I feel. I have high hopes that 2020 year is gonna be a good year. We have to have hope. Hopefully it will be better in all walks of life. It sounds like my life is like super bad. It's not. I just, you know, it's not been the greatest. So hopefully this year will be better. And I really want to do more reading because I love it so much. And I just have so many books. I do wonder though, as I sit here and talk about this, that maybe the trick is to just chill out. I wonder if that's what I need to do, just like relax and don't take everything so seriously, which is funny because I am relatively relaxed as a person, but I think that there's some underlying like stress about things, and like I compete with myself, which is completely unnecessary. And maybe the trick is to just let it all go. I do know myself enough to know that if I manage to do that, it will probably only be temporary, but we'll see. You can always work on yourself, so maybe that will be like a goal for 2023, to just like relax, chill out, don't take things so seriously. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. We'll see. That was kind of it for today though. It's always fun to like look back at the year and see how we've done. Maybe not as fun when I haven't done as well as I would like, but whatever. It's a new year, time for new beginnings, and I love starting like a new spreadsheet as well. Oh, it's the best. So I can't wait to read like my first book and put it in there. But yeah, that was kind of it for today. As always, if you have any requests or ideas or anything you would like to see on this channel in 2023, I would love to know. 2022 was like, I struggled a little bit with creativity as well. So if anyone has any ideas, I would love to hear it. And if you've made any goals for yourself, reading or otherwise, in 2023, I would love to hear about it. As always, thank you very much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you soon. Bye!